Every once in a while, a certain piece of media will drop, making power scalers out of the average fan, leaving people to collectively wonder who would win, how strong is this character, or forming accusations claiming that it's just not consistent for this person to have lost to this person. And now, we gotta look at our boy Arkham Batman. In the new Suicide Squad KiII the Justice League, you kill the Justice League. But not just any Justice League, Batman's on the team. And not just some all-new, relatively loreless Batman, but this same Batman featured in the 3 or 6 or so Arkham games and tie-in comics. Everyone loves this version of the Dark Knight, one very much walking in the footsteps of the immortal Batman the Animated Series, down to that show's timeless tone, voice cast, and world building. Since 2009, we've taken control of Bruce Wayne, facing his greatest challenges, deepest fears, fighting alongside his friends and family. From his origin to Nightfall, we were him and he was us. We were the Batman. Now, all of a sudden, under the official purview of the developers who created him, set in the same world brilliantly crafted all those years ago, we're instead placed in the shoes of apparently unremarkable villains while we not only execute this legendary caped crusader, but his super-powered teammates as well. What happened? Did he fall off? Are we supposed to believe that these 4 goofy-ass supervillains are just outright superior to the greatest heroes of all time? Seeing as I at least somewhat popularized the mythical status of Arkham Batman in my over 1 million view video detailing all of his accomplishments up until Arkham Knight, I feel uniquely qualified to create this follow-up video, breaking down the truth behind KiII the Justice League and explaining how the game actually makes Arkham Batman even more powerful than ever before. Was he nerfed? Is he stupid? No. Let's break it down. To set the groundwork, this Batman is very much the same one we've come to know and love, and has lived through every epic adventure we've witnessed. The game makes various extremely blatant references to the Arkham series, from Asylum to City to Knight. Initially, some were worried that Origins had been left neglected, as it often is, at least when it comes to collections or remasters. However, just like in Arkham Knight, many items from WB Montreal's addition to the saga are seen in Batman's Metropolis-based Batcave, namely Electrocutioner's shot gloves and Anarchy's mask. The only piece of material most likely removed from the timeline is the Assault on Arkham animated movie, seeing as this is kind of treated as Harley's first time meeting Amanda Waller or being on the Suicide Squad. Heck, Boomerang, Harley, King Shark, RIP, and the other Deadshot are all in that movie together, and its events are never alluded to even once. Still though, pretty much every legendary feat seen in the Arkham saga is kept intact here, and then some. Using my prior video all about Arkham Batman as a template, let's begin by taking a look at how the new game boosted the Dark Knight's overall attack potency. Within the pages of the Arkham art book, and as is demonstrated in-game, Batman grew in overall competency in each entry. This being due in large part via the enhancements made to his armor leading into Arkham Knight. Jason Todd, his protege who had worked alongside Batman in the past, stated that he was better than ever in that game, on top of his suit making him faster and more agile, as well as allowing him to output more force. Now, in KiII the Justice League, we learned that it's been 5 years since Arkham Knight, and Batman's been mingling with the Justice League, trading secrets of Green Lantern and Kryptonian technology, Amazonian combat techniques, and Flash facts. Batman boasts that he possesses some of the most advanced technology ever seen, even next to the Green Lantern ring, which, while more powerful, surely, it's still suggested to be comparable as far as engineering, with John Stewart being able to manifest anything, no matter how deadly, in the genius words of Lex Luthor. It doesn't stop there, as the Flash's suit, similar to his DCEU counterpart, was built by the Arkhamverse's Wayne Tech. His armor was made to endure super speed travel born of the Speed Force, being able to absorb and reallocate the energy which the Flash's running generates. This would logically be the same case for Batman. His armor should be just as durable, seeing as he would surely also have integrated the best Wayne Tech into his batsuit. The Flash, while ultimately losing to a Brainiac-amped Green Lantern, was able to have a prolonged fight against a being capable of generating constructs harnessing forces no matter how deadly. At the very least, at the surface level, and this might honestly be a pretty severe lowball, regardless, this would include the power exerted by nuclear bombs. This isn't a stretch at all. The evil Green Lantern was actively shielding Brainiac's ship from any assault, And once he's dealt with, Amanda Waller deems it time to send a nuke into Metropolis, meaning that she believed his shield would just block and endure said energy, which is in line seeing as Superman in this universe pretty casually survived the same detonation. Nukes average at around city levels of destructive force, or around 6 to 100 megatons of energy. So logically, and based on the lore, Batman's Batsuit should be in line with materials capable of enduring prolonged fights against opponents wielding such power. Keep in mind that, up until now, the best feat which Batman scaled to was just enough energy to destroy a small building. So it seems like within 5 years of experimenting with all of this new technology introduced by these godlike heroes, Batman managed to create armor at least 50 million times more durable than what he'd sported in the past. It's then stated by Lex Luthor, a genius who had encountered Brainiac in the past, that every hero possessed by the Coluan has their strength greatly enhanced. This is best showcased via Superman, who despite the obvious weakness to kryptonite, this Brainiac-empowered version of the Man of Steel manages to not only survive a fight with Wonder Woman brandishing a shield of the mineral, but even tanks getting stabbed in the heart by a massive chunk of it, blasts Diana with heat vision, and flies off to heal. So take every single thing Batman has ever done, all the damage he took in his game series, Bane tossing him through walls, buildings falling on top of him, Grundy trying to crush him, even the possible nuke-level armor he boasts. Brainiac would have made him so much stronger beyond that it's not even funny. On that note, in the main Batman comic, and this was actually foreshadowed in the Arkhamverse beforehand, we see the Zur-En-Arrh alternate persona spread itself from the Prime Batman into his Arkham counterpart. In the comics, Zur is a kind of backup identity, a more streamlined and stronger kind of Super Saiyan form. It's supposed to either kick in when the chips are down or when his mind has been taken over. It does seem like Brainiac's control was too strong though. Also, I've seen people try to argue that it's inconsistent that Brainiac's mind control was able to work on Batman when Joker's failed to do so, even though Joker's actually succeeded. He needed Scarecrow's fear toxin to create Joker's greatest fear, which is Batman beating him and locking away in his mind. Otherwise, Joker would have just won in Arkham Knight. Brainiac has taken over multiple planets. In the comics, he's a 12th level intellect, which means he has more knowledge than an entire planet put together, and probably also the entire universe. So yes, it makes total sense that he would have better mind control abilities than Joker's toxin, especially in the Arkhamverse where everything is much more tame compared to the comics. Anyway, as far as skill and intellect, things got just as crazy. Rick Flag, a high-ranking government agent, considers Batman to be the most dangerous man on the planet, as if we didn't already know. As soon as the squad pulls up, consisting of a Flash rogue, a demigod, the second deadliest assassin on Earth, and someone stated in official guidebooks to possess an intellect to rival the Joker, Batman instantly shuts off all of their unique power sets and one-shots them all one after the other. If it wasn't for Brainiac's weird fascination with the squad, which he brings up multiple times over, they would have all been gunned down right here. Just think about that. Boomerang channels the Speed Force via his gauntlets, and King Shark just has super strength. He's just born with it. And Wayne managed to literally disable all of that just inexplicably. The Speed Force is described in this game as an interdimensional power source, the universe's biggest battery, and Batman devised a way to just shut off a device advanced enough to harness that level of power. Brainiac, a genius beyond the meaning of the word, like I said, who has collected entire worlds across the multiverse, even considered Batman so cunning as to command his forces in the fight to terraform Earth. He even went as far as imbuing his cannon fodder with the Dark Knight's abilities, Luthor then writing that Brainiac valued Batman's tactical mind, stealth capabilities, and equipment. The most dangerous being to exist in multiple universes possessing intelligence beyond understanding upholds Arkham Batman as that valuable. Said equipment has been boosted as well to match. He sports his classic explosive gel, voice synthesizer, smoke bombs, and the usual fare. But after only getting a glimpse of its effects at the end of Arkham Knight, we see Bruce's use of fear toxin in full force. Even in Arkham Asylum, Scarecrow stated that not even 10 men should be able to resist the hallucinations it caused. He then amplified its effects multiple times over by the time of Arkham Knight, experimenting on the formula in the meantime. time. We then see that Bruce has in fact been working on further refining the toxin, likely making it more effective, at least to his ends. So imagine every Scarecrow hallucination ever experienced in the series, all the crazy shit conjured up. Now imagine that in the hands of Batman himself, someone who inspired fear in the criminal world for years even without toxins. And as is the case when the Flash is around, speed is bound to get crazy. However, it's actually Superman we should be talking about here. Throughout the events of the game, Luthor grants the Squad a form of gold kryptonite, with the team using it to weaken the Man of Steel until he resorts to absorbing solar rays to counteract the nerf. Superman rockets up into space and comes back within 4 seconds. This is a scripted event. It happens no matter what and always at the same speed. It's a canon feat. Again, performed by a weakened Superman. Luthor even goes as far to emphasize the level of solar radiation which the Man of Tomorrow is radiating. Enough for him to create area of effect blasts, evoking his solar flare ability from the New 52 comics. Obviously, solar energy extends in a relatively small part all the way to the Earth's surface, but think about what Superman is actually doing here. He's flying farther than the eye can see, absorbing enough sunlight to stave off the effects of kryptonite, all in an effort to beat the Squad. To make a few estimates as to the impressiveness of this feat, we have to consider a few things. The Van Allen radiation belt is an area existing around the Earth, as far as around 36,000 miles away, which collects energy produced in large part by solar winds. Much radiation from the sun, which would be considered hostile to Earth, is stopped and somewhat trapped around here. If all Superman was doing is flying into the depths of his belt to absorb the radiation, or even just beyond it, then traveling that same distance right back to Earth in 4 seconds total, he'd be moving at around 65 million miles per hour, or speeds near 10% of the speed of light, or relativistic. However, given the context of a bloodlusted Superman, someone who would just put down one of his closest friends, and asserting that he'd be absorbing as much power as he can to deal with the threat, or even just to best survive against the kryptonite, the sun itself is 93 million miles away. Times that by 2 since it's going back and forth, again in 4 seconds, and this feat would land at well into massively faster than light levels of speed. Now, what was the point of all that? Well, clearly the Squad can keep up with Superman. They fight him and manage to defeat him without ever getting canonically blitzed or anything. And you can't even argue that they only fought a nerfed Superman so they don't scale, because Superman was nerfed when he performed the feat. It's the entire reason he did it at all. As crazy as this sounds, it's worth noting that the Squad have been improving to an insane rate across the events of the game. Hack, basically a living AI which makes Lex Luthor jealous, has been improving their neurochemistry in the actual lore of the game. The literal synapses in their brains would be boosted, by definition allowing them to process information more efficiently. They would also go on to sport Yellow Lantern batteries, with the power of such afforded to them being highlighted multiple times in canonical data entries. Lex Luthor provides shield tech and weapons. Toyman, another super genius, can make upgrades on top of that. They aren't just shooting normal bullets from normal AKs, and this isn't just nebulously canon gameplay mechanics. Everything I said is enforced by actual canonical dialogue in the lore. So I'm not saying that normal Harley or Deadshot could have reacted to these speeds at the start of the game, but after having their minds and technology boosted by some of the greatest minds in the DC universe, it's totally fair and logical. This would link back to Batman in a few ways. Not only is he too amped by Brainiac, someone who could manipulate and emulate the powers of the Flash via his own biology, but even after beating Green Lantern and Flash, who both at least rival Superman's speed and should be beyond what a kryptonite nerfed Man of Steel can do, everyone still thinks they probably can't beat Batman, that he's just too cunning, despite all of their upgrades and speed feats up until then. Even before fighting Batman, the Squad are able to perceive and react to a battle between Superman and Wonder Woman, dodging, rolling out of the way as attacks come towards them. This ties back to the fact that Bruce considered Nightwing and Robin, with backing by Oracle and optional but not necessary help from Red Hood, as being totally capable of replicating what the Squad managed to pull off in the game. However, in that hypothetical, the Bat family wouldn't have hacked to make their brains work faster or anything. Yet, Bruce believes his former students could deal with the same light speed or beyond Superman, in at least a similar way that the Squad went about it. Then, in their fight with Batman, all while they have the same equipment they'd use against Superman, sans kryptonite, the Dark Knight would have beaten them all and crushed their minds if not for Harley Quinn. This is where many people turn their vitriol to Rocksteady, and while I understand to a point, I think this explanation will make things easier to process. Keep in mind everything I said about the Squad's brains being amped by an AI, having Yellow Lantern batteries to empower their weapons, and kits modded by a mind capable of hacking Wayne Tech, and independently coming up with the same countermeasure to use against Flash as Batman. And then consider this: Harley Quinn, even before any of that, was stated to have the same level of intellect as the Joker. She orchestrated an event seeing Batman unconscious and booby-trapped, needing Robin to save him. She even played a part in working over Batman and infecting him with Joker's blood way back in Arkham City. Quinn has almost never been a total pushover in the Arkhamverse, even if back in the day she wasn't that good of a fighter. With her Joker-level smarts, she managed to develop her own strain of fear toxin, something the Clown Prince clearly could have done. He even finalized the Titan formula himself all the way back in Asylum, with Harley then using the fear toxin against Batman, who had been instructed by Brainiac not to kill the Squad. He was holding back the entire time, and was brainwashed to do so. Even after he loses to 4 supervillains with Yellow Lantern and Luthor Tech while he was holding back, Quinn says that they got lucky. She was betting on the fact that Batman did not want them dead. At the end of the day, I get it. No one wanted to see this version of Batman die, no matter how powerful his foes might have been. Regardless, the Arkhamverse has been beefed up massively, and the Dark Knight does benefit from that. And he's probably not even dead. It was most likely a clone or alternate universe version. If I had to bet, I'd say Rocksteady recorded Conroy's lines ahead of time, and we just have to wait for the final return of Arkham Batman, where he'll surely shine and provide even greater records of his legend.